All right.
We are now here in divine time, here to reimagine and to align peace and blessings to all of the beautiful beings across the realm. Welcome to this eternal now moment. I am yours truly, King Adonis. We have the best astronomical, the most insightful energy awareness coach, Sunshine Monet L. Welcome back for another magical moon alignment. How you feeling?
Hey, Pete, y'all, I feel great. How you feeling?
I am excited, happy to be here with you, happy to be here under this Capricorn strawberry full moon energy, and happy to have the sun in Cancer. Got my solar return in 7 days. So, shout out to all my Cancer, shout out to all the Capricorns in this moon, in the lunar energy. And I'm looking forward to building and talking to all the wisdoms and the stars and getting into the cards. And we're going to do the thing tonight.
Yes, it's a lot going on in the cosmos. We have a lot of transitions that have happened in 2026, and we have a big one that just happened, Jupiter entering Leo. So, happy,
Yeah,
happy Jupiter return to me and
yeah.
my little one.
Yes, yes, yes. Shout out to all the Jupiter and Leo babies. I think my mom is a Jupiter and Leo as well. So shout out to y'all with all the Jupiter and Leo placements. Shout out to the expansion and that and those realms. And oh man, what a time to be alive. And I feel like it's such a beautiful like compilation of energy every time like the stars make these type of alignments where like we also have Mercury retrograde starting today. Um there was a few other events that took place as well. We have what was it? Mars entering Gemini as well
Yeah,
coming up this week, and it's a lot of shifts in the atmosphere. So, being in alignment with the shifting of the energies, we got the Schumann resonance all over here popping off and giving us different types of light codes and groundedness, and navigating through all the different noise and really like feeling these types of upgrades and activations in our bodies and doing the energy work required to stay at alignment and high vibrations and positive communications because we are in retrograde season.
yes. It is time for retrograde season. We also have Venus enter the Capricorn constellation. So, I do like a back and forth between the tropical and the Vedic chart. The Vedic being more so like the events and things that happen around us. So our collective heart chakra, which evolves around what we value and prioritize. And lately that's been like a lot of material things and money is a big one.
Yes.
Our business pursuits, friendships, romantic relationships, which is kind of at a strain right now because, a lot of the social media, social engineering things going on with gender wars and, you know, um, not having children. It's just like a lot of it's a big war on love, and love is the strongest superpower we have. And once we recognize that there's so many different attacks on love and unity, let us be in that Venus entering Cancer constellation of nurturing and creating safe spaces and prioritizing those and allowing the abundance to flow through being a safe space for one another and loving and things of that nature. So, hopefully that's what the Venus and Cancer brings to some of y'all. To others, Cancer can be a crusty crab. So, people's hearts getting hardened and hiding behind the claws and things of that nature. So, wherever it is that you want to be in the 6 and 9 is your world.
Yes, yes. And what do you feel like has been the theme for this cancer season for the collective? Because for me, I feel like right now, especially for all of my native New Yorkers, I feel like there's a huge energy of like celebration coming in and things warming up and momentum picking up, and I feel like the summer dog days are just getting started.
Yeah. I'm this is my first summer down here in Memphis. And so feeling the energy down here, it seems like it's calling for community. Heavy on the community coming together, people from the community representing the community rather than other people, looking out for self like community, career politicians, less of that and more actual people that live in this area and actually have like a heart connection to the spaces to be representatives and to speak up. So I see a lot more of that. And yes, there is celebration in that when come together with community, commune and unity. And so I do see a lot of that. A lot of events will be pulling on us. Hopefully that's the solution that we come up with. But a lot of events will be pulling on us to come together more and show up for each other more.
Yes, yes, yes. I feel like that was really big too for the community and the collaboration energies of networking. I feel like this is a huge summer of collaboration. Um, like over this weekend alone, my I got a cancer stellium, so I feel like all the as they say foreshadowing, but these just the intuitive downloads. It was really showing me how like we are all playing a really big game of like telephone and being able to navigate um, like where to show up, how to show up is really important during this time to be able to pick up the phone and just make those calls and make those connections so that you can have those relationships and not to hassle people, but just to let people know that you're thinking about them and that you care about them and that people are not alone. Because one thing during this season, we have the celebration of the Father's Day that recently passed, and one thing that came up was the balance between the masculine and the feminine energy when it looks like the axis of Cancer and Capricorn, right? Because
Hmm.
normally Cancer is the archetype of the mother in the home and the intuition, and I'd like to acknowledge that Capricorn has that same intuitive and mothering capabilities as well, because Capricorn is another feminine aspect. And being in the energy of yin and that feminine energy with the earth and the water, allowing ourselves to really be grounded in the waters that we're communicating and speaking through. They say water holds memory, and I say that every time we speak, those are running waters, because the waters that run, they carry messages. And
Right.
the waters that carry messages in the water, they have the ability to revolutionize our DNA. And this theme of revolution came up significantly 1122 around the energy of the master numbers and how the stars are being not rebels, but they have their own revolution. So what do you feel like this revolution is anchoring in for us creatively?
Oh, creatively, it's a big thing. It's about power at this moment when it comes to the revolution. Um, so we have Pluto over there, and Pluto deals heavily with power and Aquarian energy in our Ketters right now. And you know, it's about revealing secrets, the different cults that have been created to create power. Aquarius deals with society, and social engineering comes into play with that too. So a lot of king pieces on the chessboard. A lot of their secrets are coming out. A lot of their intent, their motives are coming out. And it's not just like people that we knew. Like I know these people are da da da. It's also people that we had faith in, we had hope in, we were pouring into. Certain, like when certain things were coming out in the Epstein files and things of that nature, realizing some of those names in those files were people that we actually know in the spiritual community. We watch
Right.
these videos, so it's just like wow. So it's like a lot of those revelations will be happening to build and destroy who's in those places. And that comes back to what I was saying before. Like now, it's going to be more people in the community. It's going to be the everyday person. It's going to be the next door neighbor that's going to be called to be in certain positions, powerful positions. Now, Pluto is very dramatic and can be traumatic. So some of these pushes can be like big things. Like give an example is what happened with Carmelo Anthony in Texas.
Right.
Um, that pulled on his parents to become a voice to walk into a space they never walked into before and learn these things, and had no choice because in addition to their child going through these things, they had the pressure of society trying to engineer them and projecting on them, this is what I would do, this is how I would behave, if you're not doing this, you're not a good parent, if you're not doing this, what's wrong with y'all, da, da, da. So it was that was like that Pluto and Aquarius like really happening for them. And and them becoming a pillar in certain conversations now when it comes to the justice system, and how well things are investigated prior to people automatically coming up to a conclusion to hurry up and close case and do certain things. And also conflicts of interest, because the young boy who passed, his family was integrated into the justice system, into the, if what I read was correct. So, different conversations like that coming up. And we'll see a lot more of that happening. Aquarius rules over electronic communication. So, you have this artificial intelligence coming out, and that's changing the way we communicate with one another. Some people are going back more and more into nature. I've seen some basic phones coming out now again.
Yeah.
We just want to flip the phone, text and call. That's it. I'm about to get me one.
Yeah, I really think that's it's a lot of transformation happening with this Pluto energy too, because Pluto's in Aquarius right now, and we're still in the root chakra of the things, and we're walking into the journey of the third eye, but it's really about the total body transformation and the total body experience. And in the foundation of the root, right, we have that masculine and feminine energy of Aquarius and Capricorn, right? And in
Mhm.
those rounds, it's really interesting to see how like the community is being pressurized to transform or form into new different ways, or just like ways of thinking and being, especially when it comes to like the business structures and the ways of exchanging finances and goods, and even when it comes to um like what people businesses were supporting, because like from word of mouth, all I've been hearing is about how much we've been able to, there's two sides to every coin. So, yes, there is the taking away of our resources from external communities. But now, because of those types of experiences, the collective has been triggered to positively, sow into melanated and Black-owned businesses in recognition of the type of energetic backlash that comes with, these types of like high level cases, like with the Carmelo Anthony situation. And then on the other aspect of the masculine Aquarius roots, it's being in the community and still having those revelations at the part of that revolution, and being finding the community that rebels as well. I feel like is a part of that root in the networking energy.
I agree. And coming back to the social engineering thing, I think it was last year around this time was when we were going through those things with TikTok and over in China, and it would we were kind of creating a stronger relationship in business and trade, because they were revealing, we have these products, da da da. But then now we're on the other side, and I don't know why CERN just popped in my mind about like Earth moving the axis or whatever. Okay,
Hmm.
cool.
So
Um,
that's a powerful download too, because today they said that they're shutting CERN down until 2030. So that's another marker of another
okay.
3 to 4 year experience. So that's like, I feel like that's Saturn, right? Saturn 3 to 4 years of
Yeah.
like CERN, there, I feel like the structure, time is one of the only elements that we don't get back, and time is Saturn ruling over Capricorn and Aquarius. So like this
Mhm.
root chakra is really founded in Saturn, and how Saturn is, Bina, in that sphere of creativity and connection to the Ketters and the crown, and how we are able to stabilize and bridge the foundations in this realm with the realm of the spiritual as well.
Agreed. Agreed. And being on this side of the things, now you see the social engineering pulling a strain on our community with Asian businesses because of what happened with the other young boy
Right.
who was chased down and shot. And so, it's just like coming to the other side of that, very interesting, because last year around this time we were building this really strong solidarity, and it got ripped away just that fast. And I was like, coming to the mindset, like what level of social engineering was this? And then also coming back to what you were saying about Saturn being Bina, and this is why we need Chokmah. This is why our Metatron is shaped the way it is. Chokmah brings the expansion, the abundance, the joy, the grace. And so that's the spiral to Saturn squares. And I know that, because we are dealing with a government that is focused solely on squares, it's easy to demonize this energy and say, oh, they worship Saturn, da da da. However, the whole point is we're all faculties of one body. This
Right.
community, they represent one faculty, and one faculty should not be ruling over the other, 11 faculties. That's
Yeah.
not how it's
Yeah.
supposed to be. So, it again, it's going to bring us to where we're going to have to come back into ourselves. It's going to be the everyday people that's going to have to come up, because the other tribes have to come up. Like when we get into the story of the 12 tribes and they say,
Yeah.
oh, the tribes disappear, where they go. We're all being controlled by Bina,
Yeah. And
that
I
represented. In fact, let me go to my notes to tell y'all exactly what tribe that is. That is the Asher tribe, is Bina.
mm, I definitely gotta look into that tribe some more, because that would be a great qubit to expand on.
Mm-hmm.
What was coming to mind was the I'm really feeling like the balance of like how, so like most people when they look at the astrology world, right, we have the 12 signs, we have these 12 tribes, but I like to think of the 12 signs as axes of energy, because no one is meant to do this work alone. Even though we have these parts of our personal journeys and experiences that are kept sacred and private, we still are meant to embody and show up in collective and community, and be the voices and the change, so that we can have those types of experiences to create our worlds, right?
Right.
And in those, like the balance of the opposites, right, it's the feminine and the masculine energy. Um it's the it's the 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 bridge between what is modern and what is ancient, because when I think about Saturn, Saturn is the ancient traditional ruler of this Aquarian and Capricorn energy, and now that we're in these modern times, we have expanded into higher forms of thinking. We have more awareness, we have more technology, we have more accessibility to technology and the realms of it. And in those realms, Aquarius also deals with the LGBT community. So shout out, happy
Mhm.
Pride to all my Pride people out there, right? And in that energy, where the community has been getting like sudden and abrupt changes, the mayor of New York just announced a $1.5 million fund to invest in gender affirmation. And I wanted to highlight something in this affirming of the gender, because we're really nailing down in on how significant it is to recognize the balance of opposites, and how it's essential for when these things to come together, to experience singularity. And that's when we're really in the Keter, we're really in the crown chakra, we're really in tune with the universe and being vessels and guides of the universe to bring forth these messages.
I agree. I really like the mayor you guys have up there.
Yeah, shout out to him.
He's really cool. And you know what he reminds me of, right now, Lilith is in Sagittarius. I feel like my whole natal chart is being activated right now. Just a little sidebar. But Lilith is in Sagittarius, and so like he's foreign. He's foreign
Hmm.
energy. He has a foreign culture, and we know that other cultures are more in tune with their indigenous culture than America is, because we're war captives. The indigenous people are war captives here, so our actual root chakra has been uprooted, and these entities here that that worship Saturn, they're trying to implement new roots, and those roots go against our whole natural way of being. And so I like that he's here, and he seems to be the Chokma, the Tahuti balance, to all this Saturn energy going on in the rest of the world and the rest of the states. And then New York is a pillar. New York is a pillar of America. Day trading, everything runs on New York and Wall Street and things like that. So for
We're
that
the
to be
financial
happening,
capital of the world, not just
yeah,
the states, it's the whole
yeah.
world.
Everything relies on New York timing and New York banking and what, the businesses in New York are doing. So for New York to be undergoing such a Sagittarius a Lilith and Sagittarius experience, I think that's really fire. Even down to like basketball game,
Yes.
that's pleasure, that's joy, that's abundance. So, a lot of that is going on over there. I think that's really beautiful.
Yeah, I like the aspect of that Lilith and Sag because I really feel it in its trine to Saturn in Aries and Neptune in Aries as they're both being like starting to slow down and get ready for their retrogrades. I think Neptune goes retrograde in Aries on
The
the
7th
fourth.
on the yeah, the 4th. Okay.
Yeah, because on the fourth we also have Mars making its exact to Sedna, which is the asteroid of Arctic birth. So being able to give birth to new creatures, having new like cosmic discoveries, new languages being discovered, like new sea creatures giving birth. Like there's been so many different types of newfound discoveries that have been making bridges between heaven and earth. One asteroid that I was getting into, I believe it's called Lahanu, and it's a Hawaiian asteroid, and its nickname is the Goblin, and it's associated with the Kuiper Belt, which is where all of these asteroids and deeper or newly found type of storylines are being discovered, and it's really a testament of how we're really expanding in these like structures and spaces to new forms of awareness, new celestial beings that are and have been always a part of our natural cosmic rhythm. And I feel like with these different structures and these roots, it's allowing society to really be the revolutionaries, like you were saying. Like the peoples are really gonna have to start taking their stages and using their voice so that they can have their stories told in the ways that they want to be represented too. Because representation matters so
Mhm.
much. And to be able to see and have our people to share their stories and their testimonies is another like huge part of like this transformation or transition into what we find joy in. And what we find joy in is our the sacral, the pleasure. That's Jupiter. That's where we have the abundance. We're in the Jupiter hour right now, so shout out to Jupiter over here on the East Coast, expanding into the realms of the sacral. And in the sacral, it's what's coming to mind. I'm seeing like the sacral center in human design, where it's the second archetype in the alignment of authority, where it deals with, sometimes they say, like having that infinite exhaustibility of the universe. So um, I feel like with Jupiter transitioning into Leo, the focus of our sacral pleasures are now being brought forth in our talents as well. Where do you feel like that energy is being like balanced on the masculine and feminine energies?
I talked about this earlier heavily too. I think that's being balanced, definitely with how this moon is coming in. This moon being in Capricorn zodiac, but it's still in Sagittarius constellation. So there we have that balance of Capricorn, which sometimes deals with the father energy, and that could be outward masculine, dealing with the discipline and the hard work. And Sagittarius is more expansion and abundant. And then when you get into it on the sacral level, it's actually flipped. Saturn is more of the feminine energy as it deals with creation and you know the steps to making, creating, the what's the word I'm looking for? Not necessarily steps, but instructions, infrastructure to creating. Whereas Tahuti was always Jupiter, right? And Jupiter just goes and just, fertilizes everything and everybody, and we just out here. Where there's more structure to the feminine energy with creating. So having that knowledge of knowing when I look at Capricorn, Capricorn can be feminine and masculine, and Sagittarius can be feminine and the masculine in different ways. And feeling that on our moon, which is our Yasada, our Yamoja, our completion and wholeness, Um, right there, just being tapped into the full moon. And then we can even go even further and say, well, the masculine sun is over there in feminine Cancer, while the feminine moon is over here in masculine Capricorn. So you have that blend there too. Um, you also have, the sun being in the 6 and 9, 6 being manifesting, materializing, harvesting, 9 being the celestial womb. It's hidden, it's feminine. So you have that blend there. So it's just like when we have these conversations about outward energy, I would hope that, people are starting to see how that's also inward in all of our beings. You have an outward self and you have an inward self. And even within those inward selves, you have a masculine and feminine, energy. And so we get into, again, coming back to this social engineering, because Pluto is very heavy in Aquarius zodiac, and zodiac deals with our thought process, how we're thinking things are. And while it's sitting over there in that tropical space, it's still in Capricorn constellation. So it's building and destroying our infrastructure, our root, what we've been rooted in the same process of socially engineering ourselves. So that's why it's important for like people like me and you and others of like minds to input, information in these ones and zeros, because there's so much social engineering going towards like that structure of this or that, like that binary,
Yeah.
this or that, this or that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Instead of spectrum. And
Yeah.
so it's like you either have something or you don't have something. And it's like, wait a minute, when you think about it, everybody's on the spectrum of everything. Like,
Come
oh,
on
where
now.
are you at on the spectrum of being an artist,
Of
of being masculine, of
consciousness.
being feminine, of being a business person, you know, of light, of dark? We're on the spectrum of everything, you know? And we have to be careful with these labels that we're using, because those are also Aquarian spellings. Again, we can use this root chakra energy to our liking, and we can either use our Sankofa energy, or we can just create something completely new. That's our world. But while we're doing that, we have to be aware of the fact that there are other energies that, when they stole this information from us, they never stopped using it. And so at this point in the game, they're really trying to build and destroy in our root chakra and tell us who we are, where we are. And you saw that a lot when the Gemini went into the White House and started uprooting, a lot of the museum information.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was Pluto.
That
you
was
know.
him. Yeah. It was a domino effect in multiple communities as well. Because during that time, like in Long Island out here, they were taking down a lot of the native Indian like reservations and the resources and the
Mhm.
books and the schools, and really like quite literally destroying the foundations of the stories that our ancestors were putting in place for us, so that people wouldn't be able to take a true stand in what we've always known to be true. And in the transformation of that, I really feel like that speaks to even this Knicks game, like the one game that the orange man popped out to the whole function was the only game that wasn't won, but every other game was one success. And I feel like it's just a testimony to like the type of transformation that is coming in to the Gemini energies, right? Because that Gemini energy is housing right now Aquarius. I mean, excuse me, housing
Uranus.
Uranus. Yes,
Yeah.
Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius. So like right now, all of our communication is still being like liberated and transformated in those realms of community and networking, breaking down certain barriers and walls so that certain conversations can be held, and as well as giving birth to those new forms of passions that are allowing us to have the revolution and the revelations in community and relating.
hmm And I told people back in the year of 8 that to watch the water. The water is very, very important. Something's going to happen in the water. Wade in the water was playing in my head all the time.
Oh
And
my
I tell
gosh,
people
wade in
watch
the
the water,
water.
watch the water. And so now we're in a space now where like water is a big deal, with the Gemini energy of communication, Uranus, the progressive push is happening there, is going towards our waters, because while they are well, they're still in, Uranus is still in Taurus constellation, so it's still providing progressive pushes in our experiences with the materials and what we value and self-esteem and things like that, while in our mindset is community and communication. So once again, we see those pushes happening where it's like a lot of us, we went for the American dream. I could have the house and the 2.5 kids and a dog and a picket fence and the 2 cars. And then, like, throughout my life, I saw people having a house and a car. Like my grandmother. My grandmother was a greeter at Walmart and had a house and 2 cars and a dog and a white picket fence. How was she doing that off of a Walmart salary? Like, and was adopting children and everything. Like, she's just, and so we see more and more this Gemini is turning up the heat more and more. And granted, we don't, like I was saying in the year 8, we don't control how the building and destroying is happening. That is not in our control. What is happening though is opportunities for us to find our place in here. While these things are being destroyed, the education system is being destroyed, museums are being destroyed, libraries are being destroyed, how we communicate, all these things are being destroyed. And no two things can stay in the same place at the same time. So if these things are being destroyed, that means that there's space there now for us to build, But it's just about us walking in our power and realizing we can do it. Now, if you got a bunch of people that are scared and I don't think we should do this and I don't think we should do that. And again, coming back to a lot of that is social engineering on the internet, because a lot of these accounts aren't even real people. They pop up, they see like little trigger words that pop up and put a bunch of doubt. Then they'll make sure that in your algorithm, you see a whole bunch of videos of people in despair and doubt and getting beat on by the police and race war stuff and all that stuff. Like, that's supposed to engineer you. Like, you hopped on Instagram very confident. Like, I'm ready to meet my people. I'm ready to do this. I want to get this done. Da, da, da. And by 20 minutes later, after you get done scrolling, all of that stuff
The
was stuff
doom
that
scrolling, the
the
loops.
doom scrolling. Now you feel disheartened. Now you're angry. Now, you're holding these things, and all that was like brainwashing techniques we watch people in the movies. Remember when they hold their eyes open and make them watch all these images back to back,
Yes, it
back to
reminds
back?
me of Robot Chicken, where he, there's the
Yeah.
different screens, and I really feel like this is a real, like, real personal activation too. Because for me, like, I've observed how accessible information and how accessible people are. Like nowadays, you have celebrities that you could find scrolling on your TikTok or
Yeah.
scrolling on Twitch, and I think you were talking about that earlier, a few months back, like the accessibility of two people. Like now we're in a different space and place where borders and like boundaries have been crossed and like veils have been torn down. So like now is really that energy to like live in your most authentic truth at all times, because there's always somebody listening and watching. And not only that, fuck that. Because what happened, or what I recognized, was that there's a level of hesitation within the collective now, where people are like discerning and deciphering what feels safe and what doesn't feel safe, while still trying to navigate superficial reality, right? And in the
Mhm.
superficial plane of existence, that's where those social engineered concepts come through to like make chaos and wreak havoc. But then there's like the liberators and the truth speakers who are like, this is the reason why we're going through these different progressive pushes and changes, and it's not for something that was to ever like bring us down, but it was for the remembrance to be like, oh, that makes sense. Okay, we can do things better this time, especially in this retrograde season where we're given the opportunity to recount those degrees, to reanalyze, everything that starts with RE. It's that season, okay? And we are
Mhm.
revitalizing, reimagining, and reawakening to, the highest potential of the things. Because when we do things the first time, we always think that that was it. And then, we are using those ones and the zeros to expand on the voice, to expand on the power. And me personally, I always love the number 0 as the void, because it was the my personal connection to the infinite and to source, and bridging the 1 and the 0. That's 10, right? And counting is 0 as a counting number as well. Like we use the tarot, And we have the major arcana is 22, and people often look over that slight detail because the it starts with the zero, which is the fool, but it's also
Mhm.
that joker energy in that archetype of the number 53, and that 5 and the 3 come together for the 8 is like, okay, we can build and transform, we can be the magi, we can be the strength, and we can carry that purpose, and we can carry all the things that have been projected or instilled or downloaded into us, be it divine recognition or lineage based healing. It's the assignments that we have been able to liberate and awaken to, because everything that is happening above is happening below, and we are alchemizing, not only alchemizing but transmuting those different polarities, internal, external, masculine, feminine, all these different dimensions of what dualism or separation looks like. This is what I was channeling earlier. What does differentiation look like without separation? Because you and I are both unique, but we are both uniquely beings, uniquely
Mhm.
being ourselves. So being able to recognize that all of us have a likeness, and then all of us have our individualism that makes us who we are. And being able to have those types of bridges and connections and ciphers to make those experiences tangible, and not just on the ones and zeros, but also in real life.
I agree. A little fun fact about me is my name is Unica Monet, and it means one of many. My dad named me, and he named me with that intention. And it's crazy how divine alignment that is, because my North Node is in Aquarius. So it's all about being unique and united. And we're coming from this Piscean energy, and we're in this, this static space as we enter the Aquarius age, and Pluto is, laying down a red carpet for us, building, destroying, making everything nice and neat. So when Earth flows into it, it's like, here's open space, is new Earth for you to do your things, right? And so here is, an opportunity to go from that melting pot energy that we were socially engineered to, where everybody has to think the same, right? And I talk about this like it was once upon a time we had different schools of thought. What school did you go to? Who was your teacher? That determines where your thought process was. And some people will be like, well, I went to 3 or 4 different schools of thought, and I like to put them all together. And that was okay. But now we have this common core curriculum.
Oh my
Everybody needs to
God.
know
I
the same
remember.
thing. Yes,
I remember when they first started putting in the Common Core
I
curriculum.
remember.
What? I was one of the only students in in my class that was still able to keep up, because the students were so used to the old form of like learning that the Common
Mhm.
Core became harder actually
Yeah,
to learn from. And then not only that for the students to learn, but the teachers as well, where they already had to they already had their lesson plans, the books, and the checks and the
right.
golden
Because
stars.
once upon a time, teachers were allowed to teach. If
Yeah.
I was a teacher in the school, you were taking Miss Sunshine's class. And you were taking the Sunshine School of Thought. You weren't taking the US government school of thought, and everybody just knows the same thing. That's not what was happening. You were in my class. So if you went to another class, you were going to get another school of thought. And so you were collecting these different ways of thinking. And I think that Common Core kind of hindered us a little bit. And I see that a lot on social media because we can't handle someone thinking different now. Why are you thinking different than me? We all went to the same education. We all went to the same school of thought. You have no right to think different than me. But that's us breaking out of this Pisces herd immunity of we all are in cookie cutter. We all have to, our bodies have to look like this. We have to speak like this. This is what men look like. This is what women look like. This is what children look like. This is what adults look like. This is maturity. This is this. We're getting out of that. And now we're flowing into a salad. You get to be the tomato. I get to be the cucumber. We got lettuce over here, onions
Oh,
over
we
there.
got multiple dressings on the side
Oh,
too for your own
yes.
predilection.
And it all goes very well together. They're all important pieces because don't give me no salad without tomatoes in it. Don't give me that salad
Yes,
without
yes.
lettuce. That's weird.
And you can't
So
give me a salad with carrots because I'm allergic because of the GMO foods.
exactly. So everybody even has their own version of salad that they want. So like your community won't have carrots. My community will have carrots. Somebody's community won't have chickpeas. I fucking love chickpeas in
I
my
love
house.
me a
Like,
chickpea. Okay.
so it's
Yes.
like we're having, that kind of society is being rebuilt. And
Gardens.
like
Yeah.
we were talking about before, going back to our previous selves and learning about our previous selves, that's Sankofa energy. We had tribes, and we had tribes that would connect to each other in some type of way, shape, or form through families. I got a cousin, you got a cousin, them cousins came together. Now that part of the tribe was together. Whether
Right.
me and you saw each other all the time or not, it's still, if I saw you, I'd be like, oh, that's such and such, this, that, and the third.
Mm-hmm.
And so things like that are coming back together rather than, oh, I'm from this part of the world and we all act the same. Like, we're getting out of that melting pot. That doesn't apply anymore, because people that are different are starting to pop up more. Like, I'm from that area and look at me and look at this. This is
Right.
not
Yeah.
reality, and so, and then that also brings me to the point of us going back into the woods. You remember initially when these colonists came over here and they were playing their little game on our land and creating their corporate monopoly government on our land. A lot of our people opted to go into the woods, and so we see that happening again now. A lot of people are opting to go. We call it off grid now.
Right.
That it's the same. It's the same tactic. We're going back to magic, utilizing our magic. We're going back to, living off the land. We're hiding in the woods. We are, refusing to sign papers and be a part of this. And now, because they had such a hard time controlling us from the physical, now they're trying to control us from the ones and zeros. My latest download was American Gods. You remember
Oh
Technical
yes.
Boy?
Yes. Yeah, the one that media was using like a servant to like recruit Shadow Moon, I believe in the beginning. He like
Mm-hmm.
created those like fake like bots to like I think he was intimidated by Shadow Moon's ability to
Right.
like not be offended by whatever was happening, but like he just didn't have that power. And it was so funny because it was like the recognition of like some of these gods really think that like there's new gods and the old gods, and that there is a lot more to be learned in the realms of the gods. And that is another bridge or connection that came through for me. I've been seeing happy a lot, right? And this energy of renewal, and like I'm approaching my solar return. So like this is my refresh and pivot period where like things are being renewed and being poured into. Um I feel like the waters, the way how we've been speaking over ourselves, the way how we've been speaking into our communities, the way how we even text, like that goes back to the conversations. Like having our conversations in real life on FaceTime is so much more different and palatable than when we're texting on the ones and zeros, because things get misconstrued, things get overlooked, things get like reread 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and every time it has a different tone and that takes a different meaning. So being
Mhm.
able to articulate and connect in the right light that we're seeking for recognition, or deserving the recognition in the ways that we have been communicating and showing up, and being able to see the difference between how the energies have been manipulated and taken advantage of, and still appreciated at the same time, because there's that coin again.
Oh yeah, the coin. Yes, yes. And you know what I think about? I think like we are the God, right?
Yeah.
And our self-awareness is important. Like, you have a God going around and saying, like, we need people to continue to believe in us. And that's what we need. We go outside, we say, not all these people are real people. Some of these people are NPCs. And that's because we're the gods. Some of these people are just here to fill space for the electromagnetic field. And they're like sheep. They're sheep. They go where they go. Jesus said it many, many times. Like, you got to herd the people. Not all of these people have it. You know what I'm saying? Not all these people have it. And that's why there's people like us. That's why you have the 12 faculties. Every cell in your body has its own, cycle. We're not going to take away from that, but you have 12 major faculties.
Right. 12,
And
12 the 12 major cranial nerves, it's associated, direct association to each one of the houses.
exactly. And as within, so without. So think about it the same way here. Like, it's not, 12, 144,
Right.
but, and all the cells matter
44.
for the body. However, we have the 144 faculties. Let's not, and those are the people that have to stand up and herd and provide the right information to the nucleus of the rest of the cells, so that when they replicate, they're replicating with the right information, and they're not continuing these cancerous informations to their descendants that's, causing so much illness and ailments in the collective body.
Yeah.
Right. And also an American God. So he was going around and he was trying to make sure the people believed. We need y'all to continue to believe in us. And then when you deal with Technical Boy, it was this arrogance. It was this pompous energy. It was also destructive. And I really was hoping that we would get more of it. I won't lie, I didn't read the book, so I wasn't sure if the books went further. But, you know, given like a fan ending that I would have liked to have,
Yeah.
towards the end, I would have liked to see the technical gods, new gods, learn how to complement the old gods, and us seeing in real time, instead of saying, "Oh, we're going to be left behind if we don't, do generative AI or whatever." We learned that, okay, AI, we need you more so to complement nature and the original gods and the original way of doing things, rather than competing and siphoning and being parasitic, because that's what was happening in American Gods. It was a parasitic, event happening that was turning it into war, because we're dying. We're
Yeah.
dying so you can exist.
Yeah,
And
and I
so
feel
we
like that. Yeah, that speaks directly to like how we're being impacted in our natural resources. My mother speaks about it
exactly.
so much. Like there's a certain level, or even in like point of view, right? I put this in the frame of reference. There's extremes, and then there's like real life occurrences that are happening where people are actually having detrimental experiences due to like AI and like artificial technologies. And for me, I learned that technology was only supposed to be the devices that were able to help humanity. So
Right.
now I feel like the conversation has become less focused around humanity and more about what humanity is doing with technology, and how the technology, and not so much acknowledgement on what the technology is, doing in the energetic reciprocity to our own bodies, biofields, and grids, because we've been operating on 6, 7, 8, 12, 35, 57,000 Gs for God knows how long, because of all the different radio cell towers and all the other different like interference and resistance that comes in the atmosphere when we standing up in the land of truth, but we still are developing socially in this uprising or revolution of technology in itself. And I always like to highlight how like we are still in a transition period of the internet. Like the internet itself is what, 10 years older than me, nine in the 90s, right? So
Mhm.
like I would, for me being born in 2000, I know that like the internet is still going through consistent evolution processes. I was having a conversation over this weekend about how I used to be a coder, and now like coding people, it's just prompting and learning how to ask the right questions. Nobody's asking anybody about a coding language and Python and CSS and
Mhm.
HTML and the actual detailed work that was required to be able to actually walk these different paths and know how to use these ones and zeros in technology to be able to have that like physical mundane awareness, but also a highly spiritual advanced awareness of like the details that get put into place for us to be able to be in this place and space and place here and now. Like we've been given opportunity that has been that never has been experienced before. And even though there has been many oppressions or appearances of likeness, we are now in a new space, day, and time. Like over here, it's a whole new day. It's Tuesday now, whole new day, right? And now we're
Mhm.
moving into an energy of like change and passion and revolution on a collective level, because Mars is now in Gemini, and celestial rulership, planetary rulership, everything has energy or an associations in its symbolisms. And with this Mars in Gemini, shout out to all the Gemini returns.
Yeah.
The Mars returns. Yeah, that just, yes. We remember details. But this Mars and Gemini energy really being able to express our passions in our community, being able to take actions on those passions in community and collaborate, and not being like, well, being light, not being afraid of what the technology is giving us, because that's another aspect of it, right? Humanity often fears the things that it's not familiar of or familiar with, and moving from like that root chakra alchemy, right? Transcending the fears and the limitations and getting out of that energy of survival. I feel like a lot of the technology is being used for that survival energy, like just got to get this done. And being able to honor the technology that is the body, it gives us more breathtaking experiences that fulfills us in like realms that have been explored and unexplored, because we're tapping into the seen and unseen, the hidden and the unhidden realms of awareness,
Mhm.
of like energy, and being that bridge and reflecting each other on so many different levels.
I I agree. I agree. And yeah, and that's complementing the mindset that the technology should be complementing us. It should be complementing our bodies, our experience. It should be complementing nature. And
Like,
these energies right now are hyperactive. There's not enough feminine energy in like higher class people. Upper class people, there's no feminine energy up there. It's all
yeah, top
masculine.
down
And then,
structures are like, it's that's another aspect too. We're still living in these hierarchical or patriarchal, well, even, well, what are they called? Patrix, matriarchate. Like even the certain matriarchies today, they're still functioning under those patriarchal doctrines. And it's like
yeah.
we have to be able to recognize the taxonomy of the things, where everything has its own species and genius and gender. And a part of my journey I'd like to highlight is, being able to recognize when one is flowing from a zone of genius versus or being in a space of disaster. That's what I felt called to say. Like, because when you're operating from that disaster, things seem catastrophic, they're scattered, they're all over the place. But then
Hmm.
when you find the focus of one flowing in their zone of genius, you are really anchored into their four pillars, and those four pillars being a foundation or a fortification of where we find our life's work, where we come in this life to embody and incarnate our own individualistic purposes and identities. And those things are reflected and fractaled into so many different layers or levels and degrees. And when we highlight the degrees, that also is another level of expansion, right? Because we have all these different zeros and all these different celestial bodies transiting into these new signs. So the zeros and the ones are really being highlighted and significant, as these are spaces and places of renewals and fresh starts as well. Especially highlighting this universal year of one, where we're all universally bringing forward new beginnings, new ideas, new
Yeah.
projects, new communications, and new relations. So this is a great time to be planting those seeds, and then using these full moons, new moon energies to really like take action and move on those.
Hmm. Yes, this Aries energy is being in the year of one, and the year of one is being brought to us by six. So this is the year of Vav, of equality, of harvesting, of balance, right? Having that balance of masculine and feminine energy. And so we need, it's not, to me, it's not patriarchy versus matriarchy. It should have always been a balance of the two. I always think about 300, the scene in 300 where the husband wanted to go to war, and he was sitting next to his wife on the bed, and she was speaking life into him. Do what you got to do. And that's all he needed to hear. And he did what he had to do. And that scene right there, that's exactly how it's supposed to be. When you look at the statues, the Egyptian statues, and you see the masculine and the feminine together, and her hand is on his back, or their hands are equal to each other. And even when you see the statues, the man is not bigger than the woman in these statues and these pictures. They're both the same size. They're the same stature. One is not
Balance, yeah.
covering over the other. One is not hiding behind the other. None of those things are happening. It's equal. We are here together. You know, we hold each other accountable. And like I was saying, in those in the higher class where you know these billionaires and trillionaires and all that, there's no feminine energy going on up there. That's why they are comfortable with creating a bunch of data centers all over the place and completely ignoring nature, the flow of nature that they're disrupting, because there's no feminine logic going on up there. There's no connectivity to nature. It's just, I got to build these centers, build these centers, build these centers. And it's like, wait a minute. And this is why the people that have been in the communities on the land, you know, I'm in Memphis, you know, being in Memphis, you know, and seeing the community firsthand is way different than people doom scrolling through Memphis posts. And I'm seeing the people sick. I'm seeing people go outside. I'm going outside to exercise, to go for a walk, and the air is giving us cancer. I'm seeing this. I'm seeing people go into these city hall meetings and say, stop building these warehouses here because this is what they're doing to us. Y'all not regulating it because all y'all care about is the next check this company is going to give y'all, you know, and the checks that y'all getting are not coming back into the community. And then you guys are dumping. So it's not just the air, it's the soil. It's not just the water. You know what I'm saying? It's all the elements are being infected down here, and it's infecting the people. And so when I tell people about AI and things like that, you know, it's like they dump everything in South Memphis, and you know, I'm sitting in it. So I'm like trying to tell people, like, listen, like, I know it's not happening in your hood yet, but I'm watching people down here, and I see it, and I see the meetings, and I'm in the meetings, and I'm, you know, I'm here, and I'm doing papers on it for my psychology courses. Like, it's here, and it's like, it's real. It's not no fake stuff on Instagram. It's not something to scroll and like and be
It's
like,
not
oh, that's
happening
terrible.
tomorrow. It's happening today.
It's
Like,
happening, you know, and we have to, it's not about let's do it. We don't have to just like, oh, it's us or that. We have to just come up with our feminine energy and regulate. Hey, the AI stuff sounds like a great idea, but if we're disrupting the environment, you know, disrupting people, and not just people, like, let's get out of our egos for a second. We're in charge of the animals here. They are relying on us to protect them, and we ain't been doing nothing but harming them, disrupting their ecosystem, disrupting their homes, putting them in cages instead of letting them be in their natural self. We're breaking apart animal families, but then we want to cry online when someone else is doing that to us. But that's a reflection of what we've been doing to other beings, because we feel like we're better than them. But then when somebody else comes because they think they're better than us, and to us now we want, you know, justice and da 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 da. We have to show it to receive it. And
right.
so hopefully that's what this year of six is also bringing. You know, this vibe energy is also bringing to us. Um, you know, actually we're actually not even totally in Bob yet. We don't get there till 9/11 because that's when the Hebrew New Year is on September 11th.
Mm-hmm.
So technically we still in the space of finding completion and wholeness here, you know, bringing things into one. So, you know, I'm not saying, you know, the clock is running out. The clock is never running out, but we do need to have better conversations on how we can complement the technological advances to where it's not hindering us, but supporting us as a collective. But it's unfortunate that first we have to make sure our voices are even respected. You know,
Yeah.
our voices aren't even being respected to be heard, you know, and that comes back to, like, there's certain faculties on this plane that are in human form. It is our job, it is our duty to grab the megaphone and barge into these rooms and say, y'all gonna hear me.
Yeah.
You have no choice but to hear me.
Yeah.
And there's many like me
Yeah.
behind me. So you think ignore me is okay? Ignore me in front of all these people.
Right. Right. And you know, I feel that's because I just seen somebody on the train with a blowhorn, so that's just confirmation. Like the messages are being blown and like the trumpets are being sounded, and I just got a flash from like when we invoke the trumpets, right? It's the elephant energy. Like, except we're gonna address the elephant in the room, and it's really the government, it's the authority, it's the structures and Mars, the systems. Yo, clock that. Mars, right? It's the energies and the passions, the drive, that is being taken up. Like, think about it, like the iCloud drive, like all this memory, all the storage, all the things that people are being forced to pay for. And it's like, we are now in a space where we are making tangible what is for us, and removing this under this full moon, under the strawberry full moon, what is no longer in alignment, right? And being able to successfully transition and navigate into the realms of the higher chakras, into the ketters, right? Because there's been a subtle transition through all of the chakras on interplanetary level and a subtle level, where our nervous systems, our bodies have recognized, like, we're in a new space and time. Everybody talks about new Earth, 5D Earth, confirmation.
Mhm.
We have new sounds, new rhythms, new programs being pushed into the atmosphere, new sound waves, and in these ranges. And I heard the adaptability of change in this time of change, right? I'm in a personal year 5, so this year has been, showing me all the expressions of change and what it looks like in its many forms. Like, we have recognized, like, the system, like the I Ching, right? It uses the Bagua, which comes from the 8 elements, right, or the 8 trigrams, and in these trigrams, it breaks down, or the trigrams are made up of yin and yang lines, which is the masculine and feminine, right? So we consistently come into the archetype of yin and yang, or duality, or non-dualism, and knowing that, like, naturally we have always been, and we continue to reclassify, to redefine, to reimagine, to reignite, and to reawaken into higher, more fulfilling sights and lights. And with that being said, we also trust in the unknown and the known, that the universe is always working in our favor, because we are.
Mhm.
That was 1111 when I said that. But knowing that, like, we have these, I heard, interplanetary and celestial, like, missions and assignments to show up for ourselves, for our communities, and for divine alignment and confirmations. Like, we're allowing the source to speak at this time, because that's where Keter is. That's where the universe. That's where we, can collaborate in those Arumala and Yemiya spaces, in those conscious waters, and of the mother, and in the fire of the Father and diviner, of the lighter, of the knowledge, right? And seeing how we're coming together in a space to be able to highlight all the different ways of mutation, immutability. And when I think of the mutable signs, I think of, Mercury and Jupiter. So Mercury and Jupiter are technically still right now in their, that Cancerian space tropically, because
Mhm.
Jupiter doesn't go fully into Leo until tomorrow, or today, or if you're on the East Coast, until 2:07. So we got about 2 more hours until that transition happens for the collective here. Um, but with this mutability in the water, right? Cancer is traditionally a cardinal water sign. And I feel like with these two mutable celestial beings, like, we're really being invited from the universe, from the cosmos, to expand and grow on how we communicate, and to dive deeper than the surface, dive deeper into the realms of appreciation with our community, to reach out to your uncles, to your aunties, to your cousins, to the ones that you maybe not, used to communicating and having on the phone all the time, but still being able to reach out and make those types of connections and synthesis on your own time, so that you can be properly aligned with, your family, with your support systems, with your foundations, because we're moving into a time where we're going to need each other, and not just for, like, any superficial, like, energy exchanges, but for the simple fact that we are one being having one experience in multiple different ways. And it's in this recognition of unity and Ubuntu, and being on a motherfucking divine assignment, okay, that we come together and stand truth, and we say our truths unapologetically, because this is what is required for this transition, this pivot into these realms of expansion. And we're just getting started. Like,
Mhm.
Neptune is in the beginning degrees, Pluto is in the beginning degrees of these signs, and it's like We're just getting started on, and you have to get started in a new Jupiter cycle. What were you doing 12 years, 13 years ago? Those things may be resurfacing. What were the energies, the archetypes, right? Chiron and Taurus now. Chiron bringing the healing, the wounded healer, the wisdom of the sages to bring forth the healing to the finances, to the pockets and the coins, to how we value ourselves, to how we value our resources, how we value our appearance, and all the different Taurian, vortexes. But we're in a new day and a new dawn of a new age and a new aeon, and I give thanks always, because as we embody these new experiences, new energies and archetypes, we're learning, growing and flowing for the tomorrow people, for the
Yeah.
generations to come, for the ones who are going to look back on these types of conversations and be like, thank you, I needed to hear that. Because this is for the ones who needed it, who needed to hear it when they thought nobody else even cared. Because there's a sense of nurturing that I feel in the children that don't get sung to sleep, who don't get tucked in by their mothers or their fathers. Like for me, I always give thanks to my mother, because there are children who don't have that opportunity, time, and space.
Mm-hmm.
And we all come from a mother. We all come from the great cosmic mother. And having that energy in place, we give gratitude to the new things that are being birthed into the ciphers, into the awareness, into the magical energetic awareness coach that is Sunshine 180. Okay? Because we have grown, learn, and flow. We harmonize into so many different spaces and places where we all grow in energy awareness. And is there anything else you would like to add? I don't want to keep the people here too long. I know we've been on for an hour, but I just love being here with you, building on all the different stars. And oh yes, I would like to pull some cards for the collective. I had some messages that came through earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Can clarify those.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, you definitely confirmed a few things for me as far as like some personal phone calls I've been receiving the last couple of days, and I'm like, why is this person calling me? Why is this person messaging? What's going on? Okay, cool. Let's go with it. Um, well, there's a lot of confirmation happening there. I also want to include that in the on the Ethiopian calendar, we are in the year of 2018, and the Ethiopian calendar is based upon the year that Christ was announced. You know, that's when the angel Gabriel visited Mary and said, "You're going to have, there's a baby here," and so that's what the Ethiopian year is based on. Whereas ours, I believe, is based on his death. So we live on a dead calendar. Um, so if you do with that what you will. But
yeah.
coming into the fact that it's 2018 on the Ethiopian calendar, and given that Christ actually represents Asar, the Ketters, the Christ consciousness, when we're going above into the next pleroma with our energy. And I think that sometimes, we can get caught up in the physical realm, but remember, your spirit has a body. Your body doesn't have a spirit. Your spirit has the body. So we're just having an experience through the most condensed form of ourselves, but we're way bigger than this. We are Christ. You know what I'm saying? And so when we get into that Christ conscious, we're here. And 2018, wisdom in our cipher, knowledge in our transformations brings us to self-mastery. So we're actually in the year of 11, which is the year of self-mastery when it comes to announcing Christ into our space. So if you want
Mm-mm.
to reach that Christ consciousness and being aware of our electromagnetic field towards one another, this will also bring awareness to how we are affecting our electromagnetic field with technology, the warehouses, our education, how we speak to one another, the building and destroying that's happening in Aquarius with Pluto, the progressive pushes that's happening with Uranus and Gemini. Um, when we do start, having an abundance in Libra, we're going to have a beautiful triangle happening there. Come Libra season, when it comes to like the harvest moon and all that stuff like that, it's going to be it's gonna be a nice triangle to utilize. And that's also when we'll be coming into the year 2019 on the Ethiopian calendar. So now we're bringing that Christ consciousness into understanding, creation, expression, you know, being an energy. So that's something to look forward to, and being present, you know, in this moment. We do have a star, not yeah, we have a star information, y'all. Right now,
The Star of David, right? In the
yeah, the
sky.
Star of David is information. Right now, we have the triangle solidified in fire. We have, we have Lilith in the moon in Sagittarius. We have, uh, well, let's just say Lilith in Sagittarius because I don't want to get confused with the tropical and Vedic. We have Saturn and Neptune over there in Aries, and we have, what is it? Leo. We have Jupiter entering Leo. Forgot my excuse me. Sorry, just in my mind. So we have that triangle being solidified. I believe we have Vesta over somewhere too. So that's dealing with our passion. Hold on, let me check my notes. Y'all know I keep my notes out. Um, as many times I go over this. Yes, we have Vesta over there in Aries with Saturn as well. So we have this beautiful triangle happening here, and then we have the air triangle slowly getting into formation. So by the time we get to the 5th, which is around the time that Neptune will start going in retrograde too, we will have a Star of David in the sky between the fire and air, our thoughts and our actions, you know, being in alignment there. And initially I kind of felt uneasy with that energy. I don't know how you feel about that.
Well, there was two things that came up for me. One thing was like being seen more, like, and not even just in my own personal spaces, but like a lot of things that I didn't think that other people were seeing are now starting to be seen more in that aspect, where I feel like it's really been dreamy for me, very dreamy, very very dreamy, very dreamy, and in the subconscious spaces as well, where I'm seeing my my hologenetic profile, but it's that Neptune energy of enlightenment. That's so funny because I pulled the Hangman card in one of my tarot decks, and that card is in alignment with the Neptune energy, and being in the energy of enlightenment, and also the ones and the twos having the knowledge and the wisdom for the expression, and that was the three, which was what brought me to the synchronicity from the Pixies. And the message from them was about the twin rose, and being in the energy of community and collaboration, having the right power dynamics to surrender to the energy of change, especially when it comes to being present in the now moment, having the adaptability and resilience as well to do what you love to do.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, Spirit says show them what you do. They love it, and it's also energy of grace here as well, where we are returning all non-love with love collectively through the streams of grace, because these are emotional waves that are being alchemized through the collective.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Especially because I feel like that's my birthday weekend, that 7/7/4 7/5 7/6, and then my solar return is going to be exact on 7/7. So I've been watching how these degrees have been, or the degrees stay the same but the days change, right? And
Mm-hmm.
being mindful of how, like, we delineate and we follow the chains of dispositorship to, like, recognize, like, that how the interconnectedness of all the web, I'm hearing the web and the flow of grace is coming through, the web and the flow of the celestial codes, as well as our interwoven DNA. It's literally like upgrade, expansion on abundance, and everything that you have been putting attention to is going to be expanded. because that's that Leo shine. That's where, where the sun shines. The sun is the ruler of Leo. So wherever we are putting our experiences, because what your energy goes, attention flows. So when your experiences are magnetizing and navigating you through those different shining and talents, and that's also the child as well. Leo is the heart space, and
Mm-hmm.
using our hearts to navigate and guide through these changes and transformations and emotional waves, as well as recognition of like how we're pulsing through these different transmutations as well, right? We have the sun in the human design, or I Ching. It's the gate 52, which is mountain over mountain. So we're in the season of mountain, where all of the hexagrams during the season, they all have a lower trigram of earth. So we're in like the summer days, but we're based and rooted in the earth, and having that as confirmation, we are inheriting the wisdoms of the earth. We are living through the experiences of the earth in her magnetic fields, as well as she's been upgraded, or like receiving so many like solar flashes. Like I know this Thursday or during this weekend, we're gonna have like high weather because of the solar flare activity that has been coming off. And even though the solar flare activity hasn't been like X class level, it still carries a potent magnetic energy of, solar plasma, solar charge, and these different forms of consciousness that have been coming through. We'll start to see more frequently as well. Um, the
So,
cards have already been pulled, so I just want to share these messages really quick, and
okay.
then I'm gonna pass the mic back to you. We have a few guides here from the animal spirits and the realm of the heart. So we have the cat energy speaking to the energy of independence, reminding us that we are natural leaders and to use the intuition, especially during this Cancer season and the summer days, the dog days, is heightened spiritual activity. We got the Lion's Gate portal coming up. So Sirius is the star of this higher spiritual conscious activation. My sun and Mercury are actually conjunct the Sirius star, and being in that alignment, Sun, Mars, and Mercury actually, but um, having Sirius speak through those three is allowing the collective to see and recognize that there are celestial communications and higher realms of socialism that are happening on this paradigm, and it's really anchoring self in to be the leader, be the change, be the leader. That's confirmation to be the change that we all want to see in the world, because our intuition is the pillar that is guiding us into each and every now moment, right? And
Mm-hmm.
we also have the wolf, some wolf energy here with the pathfinder. The wolf was my first tattoo, and wolves, we travel in packs, but I'm an only child, so I had to learn how to be a wolf on my own. But this wolf here is a pathfinder. It's the invitation to release past resentments and to start a new journey. It says that you are a teacher, and to help others find their way, persevere, because that's a secret power. And we have the love to endure, and that comes through the hidden guides, because we are uncovering the mask that we wear through self-expression and protection of the authentic self, where we remove the internal and inherited obstacles of the DNA, because we recognize that we're breaking generational cycles and patterns and stories that have been told, right? And this is by way of the power of manifestation, the power of praise, and the power of gratitude, and the dream of the co-creation. So we give gratitude to the dream, to the dreaminess, to the Neptunian flows, and to the vibrancy of how we are making interconnected cellular communications possible through like waves and frequencies that have never been experienced before. So this is an invitation again to soar and to stop dimming your own light, family. Speaking to myself too, as I'm speaking to y'all. So
Yeah.
we are no longer dimming our light, and period. It's just straight. It's just time. It's time to fly. It's time to do what we came to do, to be the change, and to create the experiences and connections that the universe would like to expand on, and so much more. literally wholeness with Tahuti here.
Nice.
Literally wholeness and Tahuti. And we have segment right behind that card with the justice energy, bringing justice and wholeness towards for the collective. And this left, and they're both looking in the right, in the left and the right direction. So we're bridging and building the connections between the left and the right so that one can see through the center eye with the eyes wide open and learn to dream a better dream, to dream with your eyes wide open, and to see through the illusions as we are breaking doors, paradigms, and creating more revolutionary experiences in this one-of-a-time lifetime paradigm. And that is the message of the true self. We give thanks to the art.
We give thanks. We give thanks. All right, here I got my message. The theme is joy here, and we're focused on our Pluto and Venus. So Pluto is power. We know that's our power is in Aquarius, our space in society, our ability to be authentic, unique, and united. While Venus is in Cancer zodiac constellation, bringing our heart chakra into more nurturing, safe spaces and connectivity and in our emotions and vulnerabilities, things of that nature. So aligning our root chakra here, the Aquarian part of our root chakra, how we label and compartmentalize things of society with our heart chakra, where we value, prioritize, is kind of like in alignment with what you're saying about it's time for us to speak up. It's time for us to take our place and also be in joy. You know, you could be in power and be in joy. And when you are in this power energy, you know, trust that the resources, the things that you value and the feelings that you want to feel are going to come with that. Everything flows, how you want it to flow. We got 1 and 4 here. So having knowledge of your chesed, taking action on that energy will bring you 5. It's power. So this brings back to power. There's power in your joy. I talked about this earlier in my daily astronomical report about how we suppress our joy and wonder why we're in powerless, helpless situations. And it really induces a sense of learned helplessness and depression, which brings illnesses. We're not connecting with our friends, our family. We're not connecting with our job. We really deplete our power when we're not in joy. So why don't we just take a chance on the things that make us happy and, see how when we're happy, when we're in joy, we actually empower ourselves and we, why my brain said attack. I don't want to say attack. We approach, situations and things, accordingly. Bina is, what we want to focus on, our sense of understanding and creation. We have the Queen of Coins here. So again, further solidifying that not only is this empowering to you when you allow your joy to be your compass in life and society and your purpose, but it's also going to bring you your coins. It's also going to bring you the resources and the materials that you're saying that you desire and you wish to create if you just be in your power. And then also be mindful of the trickery in your heart chakra, which is our indoctrination, our education. You're supposed to suffer. You're supposed to roll up your sleeves. You're supposed to be sad. I've been listening to Reverend Ike tremendously, and he's really been putting me back in my Leo space. I ain't gonna hold you. He gives me like absolute Leo, reckless energy. That's
Okay.
where I get that
Yeah.
energy
Yes.
from.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So, he says it all the time, like, why would me being broke make someone else rich? It doesn't work that way. That's like saying, oh, because these people over here are sick, I should be sick so it can help them be well. It doesn't work that way. So why punish myself? If I decide to go after my joy and my happiness and my expansion and abundance that's meant for me, then my cup can run it over and my moral code will tell me to pour into their cup. So it's actually more beneficial for me to be in my joy. It's more beneficial for me to be in my abundance and things like that. And then he even says, don't be tricked, don't be fooled. When I say abundance and resources, I know your brain automatically goes to debt notes. But that's not even what I'm chatting about. But if that is the symbol of
Ideal,
what it
right,
is
right.
for the moment, then that's what it is. But that's not even what I'm talking about, you know? And so, Reverend Ike be spitting. I love him here. But be mindful of that trickery on y'all heart chakras that's convincing y'all that y'all supposed to be repressed. And I even see some people sometimes when they get one up. I seen a couple people, they got a one up in life. So now they're like, why does everybody go celebrate at the bar, at the club, at the park? What y'all celebrating for? Y'all supposed to be working hard, blah blah blah. Well, it sounds like you too far in your Capricorn, baby. You suppressing your joy. So when you see other people in their joy, of course that Sagittarius Lilith energy is being activated in you, and now you feel like other people should suppress their joy however way they choose to express it. Now you don't know. I do an open mic every Friday, and it's at a restaurant bar. And guess what? I meet amazing people there. So you don't know the kind of people that they're meeting and interacting with that's helping them with their expansion and their abundance, their community, their connectivity when they're going to these places. You don't know the energy exchanges they're having that they're carrying with them throughout the week that's helping them pour into other people's cups. So we're not doing that. You know what I'm saying? Celebrate yourself. Celebrate yourself every day if you want to. You understand? So that's what I got. That's my message, y'all. Be in joy.
Yes, and we are super celebrating this Cancerius. There was actually 4 happies, and I'm gonna change those to my 4 celebrations. So this month we are celebrating Pride, we are celebrating July, we are celebrating Cancer season, and we are celebrating my birthday in
Yes.
alignment. um, I had one more happy. It's MMHA. I forgot what that one was for, but
Men's Mental Health Awareness Month.
thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you,
Yes.
thank you. Yes, yes,
We
yes.
love
Because the
our
men's
men.
mental health, yes, the black men need the awareness and the comfort to Because I do. I don't think did I miss it this month? Oh yeah, I was out. But I usually participate in a monthly meditation for Black men who do too much, and the invitation is, or it's about repping the 24, and that 24 for me is a reflection of my culture and creativity because. 24 is the X marking the spot, but it's also in the for me, in the gene keys, the energy of invention and being able to invent things in this culture of things that have, been and not been, but inventing new ways to experience and inventing new ways to make memories tangible and having those bridges and connections as well. Another aspect of that too was, the 888 portal and having that 888 energy in alignment with my name being Timothy, and Timothy meaning to honor the name of God or being honored by God. And Chaldean, it is Timothy is the 26, which is the 26-8, and again to that 888 energy. And in this age of like revelation and revolution, we are revelating and revolutionizing not only just our experiences but the DNA as well, so that we are tapped in and in tune to the Most High's guidance and the universal favor of all that is. I say much love, much gratitude, and shout out to the 888. Shout out to the Black Men Who Do Too Much group, and shout out to Black men across the world. Shout out to the Black women across the world supporting the Black men, because I would not be able to be King Adonis if I was not supported by all the beautiful melanated indigenous goddesses, like far and few in between, because they are rare. They
Mm-hmm.
are rare, and that's just another identification that like all energy isn't divine energy, all energy isn't you know that, but when it is, it, and it's right here and it's really real, and we are so happy and grateful to be here in these real spaces and places to commune on the all the different stars and the translations and transmutations of these ever-changing times. So much gratitude to everybody that's tapped in. Gratitude to you, Sunshine, for reaching out and having us do these magical moon alignments. We gotta do these monthly. I feel like
Yeah, we do. I love these moments with you.
yeah, yes, yes, and being tapped in under this strawberry alignment. Right, I have an uncle named Strawberry, and I feel like it's funny too because he's a Capricorn, so I feel like we're really harvesting the energy of like, you know, that sidereal or like Vedic Gemini energy where like we are still in the realms of community and collaboration and being able to be one amongst the collective and having those digital, virtual, and physical experiences to uplift and be in our communities, to be in our tribes, to be with the in the connections and partnerships with the people who want to see us successful, happy,
Mhm.
and thrive. So much love, much gratitude, because you could have been anywhere in the world, but you are here with me. So thank you so much for being you and living authentically and just shining brightly. Because you know we rarities, we star seeds out here, and you know a lot of change and transformation happens when we are intentional and we got these works done in the records and we have another major show for the book. So this was so much fun for me, and thank you for everybody that tapped in and tuned in, and until our next now moment, peace everybody. Thank you
Peace,
for tapping in.
peace. Love y'all.
Oh, was there a plugin that you wanted to drop? Anything you got coming up that you would like to share? Alrighty, we out of here.